Hello. Welcome to the Female Mixing Engineers Music Podcast, where we bring you 4 great songs created by 4 very, very talented ladies in 4 unique home studios. How are you doing today? I'm so glad that you tuned in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you. If you want to check out our website, femalemixingengineers.com, that would be great. You can even leave a voicemail. Click on that little button on the side of the screen. You can call up, ask questions, leave comments, give a shout out to any of the ladies on the show. We could air your voicemail on an episode as well. So, hey, come in and say hi. Also, join us on the Female Mixing Engineers website or Facebook page, I should say. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just say hi. Come and join the fun. I am so glad that you're here for episode number 5. Yes, this is number 5. Oh, and also I forgot to say, yes, there's Pinterest too. So come and say hi on Pinterest. In fact, the Pinterest page has some great links on it. Okay, there's like getting close to, I think, 500 links to great articles and information that you could use, whether you are new to dipping your finger in the audio sort of, bucket, or if you're a seasoned veteran at it, there's lots of good information on there. So, as I said, I'm so grateful that you are here. Thank you for all the positive feedback about the podcast. It's great, and I am honored that I get to sit here and chat with you. And speaking of chatting, okay, so today I wanted to chat a little bit before we bring on the ladies, that I find this one subject matter a little bit distressing to some. Some are just wondering what it is, and that comes to saturation. We're talking about saturation, which is a form of distortion. I think that what I want to focus on more is tape saturation, which is a subtle type of distortion. It adds a little dirt or grit to a track, kind of like your favorite little flavor of harmonic distortion. Okay, and harmonic distortion is actually, it can make a sound more polished. I know that sounds kind of weird because you're talking about distortion, making it sound more polished, but yes, it can by exaggerating overtones of the source sound. These harmonics are musically related to those that are already present. Now, we can talk about different levels of distortion. We've got overdrive, which is like mega. You usually associate that with something like guitar amps or pedals or whatever. We're very, very familiar with that. Distortion comes in very handy on bass tracks when you're mixing bass. All these different types of distortion and flavors of distortion can be very, very, very beneficial in taking a mix or a track that might not have been optimally recorded. Now, I'll get into that in a second. But we hear distortion a lot now on drums. I mean, you hear that crunchy sound on drums or drum loops. It's amazing. We hear it on bass. It can make a bass track cut through the mix a lot better. And you have to play around with it. You have to go in and don't be afraid to try different things with distortion. Now, when we talk about tape saturation, it's a subtle distortion, and it's used a lot. I don't know. Let's see. Well, it can be used a lot on a full mix in the mastering stage, and if you're new to mixing, you probably are even using distortion without realizing it, because even EQing is a form of distortion because it changes the amplitude of certain frequencies. Now, you can use saturation, a subtle form of distortion, to do things like add harmonics and shimmer to vocals, which I'm going to talk about in a second, or fatten the bass, as I said, or turn the drums into crazy drums. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Get creative with saturation and distortion. We can talk about certain plugins that deal with saturation, such as FabFilter Saturn, Sound Toys Decapitator, Soft Tube Saturation Knob, which is something I love. In fact, that even gets a 2 thumbs up by Dave Pensato. We've got the TDR or Tokyo Dawn Record Slick EQ, the Klanghelm variable tube compressor. It generates harmonics, which is saturation. There's plenty of them out there, and actually in the show notes, I am including links to some of the freebies out there that are very, very good that you might want to add to your arsenal of plugins if you have one of those. I'm also going to talk with you about how to create saturation without using any third-party plugins here in a second. But what I want to talk about is how we can use distortion to fix things in our mix. Now, personally, I get a lot of vocal tracks to edit and mix, okay? As I'm sure a lot of you do, or maybe you're only working with your own tracks. Doesn't matter if you're new to this or, as I said, a seasoned veteran at this kind of stuff. Sometimes you're going to get vocal tracks that either due to the microphone, which is very possible because let's face it, expensive microphones are the ones that generally will record accurately, but they're pretty expensive to engineer to get them to sound perfectly accurate. So we use whatever microphones we can use, $100 microphones, maybe even less. It doesn't matter that much because you can usually work with it, mix it, and especially depending on your genre. That's where certain inexpensive microphones can work really, really well in certain situations. But if you have a vocal that's been recorded and you're noticing after it's been recorded, but it's the perfect take, emotionally perfect for your mix, but there's some kind of fuzziness, and you know that this is probably due to your microphone. Maybe it's you're kind of sad because you're trying to boost it, and there's some kind of fuzzy-wuzzy sort of sound going on. This could be your microphone, might be your preamp, actually. You're not really sure, but if it's like, say, how much volume a mic can take before audible distortion varies. This is usually with condenser mics. Unlike older vintage condensers and entry-level condensers could distort, as well as your preamp or AD converters or whatever. So how are we going to get around that when we have a track that is the perfect emotional take of your song and you don't want to toss it? So what you do is, hey, let's take some of that distortion. Let's take some of that saturation and maybe add it to the track, okay? Sounds a little bit counterproductive, but it's not. If your vocal track has a little bit of distortion on it, hey, why not try to add a little bit more distortion, especially tape saturation, to that track so that it kind of blurs the line between that mic that might not have been the best and the take, all right? So this is a very, very good tool to remember, is using saturation to actually, in one way or another, repair your not perfect vocal recording. This is one way around it. Now, I'm not saying that's going to work all the time, but boy, before you toss that out, consider it. Consider messing around with some distortion on a track that might have subtle distortion, and then also on the mix, and maybe even on other instruments to bring that idea and that sound and actually that warmth, because that sort of saturation can add a warmth across the whole track and the whole mix. So don't forget to try that. Now, when it comes to, say you don't want to buy a third-party saturation plugin, okay, there's really cool ways to work with this without having those third-party plugins. And specifically, one I love is go to your plugin tape delay. Whether you use Pro Tools, which I think it's called Tape Echo on Pro Tools, in Logic, there's tape delay. And what you want to do is pull up that particular plugin and now remove the delay parameter. Take the delay off so that's all that's left is the character parameter, the feedback, and the modulation would still be active if you took the delay off, okay? And these are modeled to act as a tape. And they will, depending on how much you mess with the feedback, modulation, or the character, they can add such a great tape saturation feel without you even having to have a saturation plugin. You can also, and that really seriously is a fun thing to remember. So if you have a tape delay, go in it, set it, whether you want to bus it or you want to put it directly on the track, just go and mess with it. Take off the delay parameter and have fun with the rest of that delay plugin. All right. Tape delay plugin. Okay. Use it for the tape delay plugin that you have that comes stock usually in your DAW. All right. Also, there's things like your compressor settings. All right. If you want to add some warmth and add a little bit of distortion, but very subtle, the type that adds a harmonic distortion that's good, go into your compressor settings and use your compressor with no compression, okay? Just ratio 1:1 and a threshold to 0, okay? And then drive the output gain or the distortion control on that compressor. Don't let it compress. Just play around with the sounds that it can accomplish using the soft or the hard knee. It doesn't really matter. Go in there and mess around with it and see what you can get without having to use any kind of third-party plugin, because those are really cool to have fun with. Now, whether you use the distortion or the saturation before or after the reverb, or what, it's up to you. It's up to you what you want to do. Put it on a bus. Use it parallel if you want to, or double your track. Put it on a double track and blend it into the track that doesn't have it. I mean, your possibilities are endless with saturation and distortion. Just remember that this can be used to subtly overcome problems that are in your mix, all right? We know that using any kind of tape saturation on a full mix is a great way to make a real sterile digital mix sound warmer and better. We try and achieve this sound all the time. But don't forget that you can use these to actually repair some tracks that already have distortion on them, subtle. Now, if your track is, digitally clipping, that's a whole different ballgame. And, who am I to say? You might be able to make that work too, using some sort of distortion. But sometimes you need to go with it. You need to run with what the problem is and maybe just figure out how to enhance it. And possibly that could make your mix or your track sound even better. Okay, and let's remember, too, that exciters are also distortion that's confined to higher frequencies. They make things brighter, So anyway, think about distortion as your friend. Don't think about distortion as a bad guy all the time. We have to, in our home studio, sometimes fix things and fix them after the fact, after they've been recorded, whether we are receiving those tracks from others or we've done them ourselves and we just can't get back in and record that part. You may be able to save your distorted track with a little bit of distortion, or in other words, some kind of saturation. Tape saturation is real cool. And remember, you can go in and create tape saturation by using tape delay, your tape delay plugin. All right. So this is fun stuff to remember. And as I said, I've got some links to some saturation plugins that are free. And if you have anything to say about distortion or saturation or any of this real cool stuff and those quote unquote dirty little secrets that you use to make your tracks a little dirtier, I think that grit can add so much personality. So don't give up on a track that's not perfectly recorded, or you get really, as you develop your ear, you may start to notice vocal tracks that the mic was pushed a little bit too hard, but you might be able to fix it. So that being said, I think that's enough to say actually about distortion. So I think it is time we are going to move on to our first little lady and her absolutely amazing song. I am so pleased and so honored to be able to feature this next lady's music. This is the fabulous Halie Loren. Okay, so I'm speechless when I say I am a super jazz person, okay? And this woman is an American jazz singer-songwriter from Sitka, Alaska, okay? We're featuring her song today, A Woman's Way. It's from her album Heart First, and it was recorded and mixed in her home studio, okay? It was written by her, if I didn't say that already, and it was primarily mixed and produced by her, although she did have a co-producer, Matt Trader. I hope I said that right, Matt. Anyway, it is such a fantastic song, and this girl is absolutely fabulous. I mean, when you hear her voice, you're just gonna melt. All right, she is an amazing, amazing artist, singer, songwriter. Her debut album, They Ought to Write a Song, won Best Vocal Jazz Album in 2009 at the Just Plain Folks Award, okay, and went on to become the second highest selling jazz album in Japan in 2010. She tours around the world. In fact, when I was just communicating with her, she had gotten back from overseas tours. So she tours all the time. She tours in Canada, Japan, China, Italy, Hong Kong. And she tours with her group Halie and the Moon, as well as guest performing with orchestras and big bands. She has that super cool voice that you could just tell this is what she was made to do. She actually also has a super cool video, the making of her album Butterfly Blue. I'm including everything about her, all these links, more links than I normally do in the show notes. The making of her Butterfly Blue album is an excellent, excellent insight to see what her process is for recording, in her studio. For A Woman's Way, she used the Adobe Audition running on Windows 7 PC. All the signals went through Mackie high-end preamps. Now she uses Pro Tools 12 on a Mac. But back then when she did this song, she was using the Adobe Audition. So now she also is getting really tuned into her new Allen and Heath Z R16 board, and she's also integrating an Avid Artist Control board. So she's, expanding and doing what it is she wants to do with new stuff she wants to do it with. And her vocal mic for the Heart First album was a Shure KSM 32. And the piano was double mic'd with two Shure SM82s. She had various mics on the drums. There was two mics on the kick, two mics on the snare, tom mics, and overheads were the SM82s as well. Bass was direct in from an amp with an Octava MK012 in front of the bridge. Interesting. And the guitar amp was mic'd with a Shure SM57 and a CAD Ecotech E200, which was also used on the accordion, which is like my favorite part of this song, okay? And also, let's see what else was recorded here. She uses, now she likes to use Mojave Audio MA200s for vocals, or a match pair of Neumanns or the Mojaves on her piano. So this woman in her home studio has really, really got it going on. Like I said, the videos that I've linked are amazing to watch her process, her recording process. And also she's just like, she's so busy. She's touring everywhere. This is just amazing. And she still finds time and whatever to learn about audio, to learn about mixing and mastering. She has an amazing ear. She began learning about mixing in 2003 by working side by side with her dad, who was an audio engineer by trade. And so she has a super sensitive ear, and her room that she records in is very well treated with bass traps, lots of diffusion, and selective absorption material. So this is important. This is important stuff. She just was running a Kickstarter campaign. Just last month, I think it ended. She raised $70,000 by 364 backers. This is for her 10th album. So all you Kickstarter people out there or wondering if you should be a Kickstarter person, go for it. When you hear this lady, she's got fans all over the world. She's amazing. And then she's also involved in the audio development of her music. This is so cool, so cool. And let's see, for her first 7 albums, she, as far as the plugins went, she used Audition Suite and Redline Reverb. But in her latest albums, including the one that this A Woman's Way, which is her Heart First album, on that one, she started using Isotope Alloy, Isotope Ozone, and Fab Filter Pro Q. In her studio work with her other band, she's probably talking about her group Halie and the Moon. In her studio work with that band, she's become a fan of Slate Digital. All right, so I could talk about this lady forever, but I want to bring on this song because it is absolutely fantastic. And here we go with Halie Loren, A Woman's Way, from her album Heart First.
I got a restless heart and a wandering way. I never know how far I'll go or how long I'll stay. They say I never know what dangers are down each road I roam. I say I'm better off believing the feelings in my soul. A woman has got her own way. This woman has got her own. I'll know that it's right when the ache goes away down in these woman bones. Many a love I've known, but not a one was to be. I never let them own the gypsy spirit in me. Oh no, life needs freedom to flourish into the beauty it should be, and there's no reason the very same truth could not apply to me. A woman has got her own way. This woman has got her own. I'll know that it's right when the ache goes away down in these woman bones. Oh, what a blessed life I've been shown, one that is mine and mine alone. This lonely and lovely journey is bliss. Oh, yeah. Oh, a woman has got her own way. A woman, she's got her own. She'll know that it's right when the ache goes away down in her bones. A woman has got her own way. This woman, she's got her own. I'll know that it's right when the ache goes away down in these woman bones.
I love that. I love that, love that, love that. You know, that fade in out start and end was exactly what she heard in her head when she uh, was able to get that in the final rendition. It was just exactly how she'd pictured it. So it was great that that was captured. My favorite part, of course, was the accordion and the guitar, especially when they're together. What a great blend of timbres there. That was really, really cool. And the funny thing is that accordion wasn't even planned until just before recording the song. In fact, it was planned to use a muted trumpet until Sergei Teleshev, who showed up in the studio with his button accordion, started playing. That was like all she wrote. So this is really cool. Also in the links is a video to the live performance of that song. So or the video to the song. I'm not sure if it's a live performance. It might not be, but it's a video and it's amazing. Amazing. All right, cool. So great, Halie. Go give her some love. Click on the links in the show notes and follow her because she is an amazing artist. Anyway, alrighty, it is time now to go to our next lady, number 2. Now, hey, that's a cool intro, right? Can you tell? Here comes the bride. Well, here comes Silversnake Michelle. This is a very, very, very cool rock song, okay? Silversnake Michelle, she is such a sweetheart, and English is not her first language. We've been communicating, and actually she does very, very well. She comes from Milan, Italy, and I can just tell that she is probably one of the sweetest people ever because she's just so supportive and so modest and just really cool. She's super, super cool. She has a three-track EP called Buries the Secret of, and this particular track is called I Marry My Pain. Could you tell that it was about a bride in that intro? It is so friggin' awesome sounding. I heard this and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Awesome. It was written by her, written by Michelle. As I said, she likes to go by Silversnake Michelle. Hello, Michelle, over there in Italy. She recorded this song, actually. It was recorded in a rehearsal room, live. At least part of it was. So she has 3 guys, Daniel, Enrico, and Valentino, on guitar, bass, and drums. They recorded that part live, all right, at least part of it. And then they overdubbed other things, such as the vocals, other instrument tracks like additional guitars and the Hammond organ. Those were all overdubs. She's singing the lead and the background vocals with her Rode NT2000 mic. And the drums were recorded on a Tama Star Classic mic'd with various mics, including the Rode NT2000 for ambiance. The guitars used included a Yamaha APX guitar, a Fender Strat, and an Ibanez Iceman 2. And the bass was a Fender Precision 5-string bass with a Gallion-Kruger head. Michelle and Daniel, they worked together on recording the session. And when they record, they used Cakewalk Sonar as their DAW. And for the voice and drums premix, they use Isotope Ozone 7 suite plugins, including Nectar 2 and Ozone's Equalizer. Okay, so this is definitely a collaboration, but she has say in pretty much all of it. You could just tell she's got so much personality. If you go to her sites and her social media that are linked, you'll be able to tell, even if you can't read Italian, okay? She's so cool. This is just really awesome. For the final mixing of the project, all the files are transferred via WAV files to her Motu Digital Performer DAW in a different room with different hardware and more pro speakers, as she says. And they're mixed. The final mix is created there. and then it's outsourced to another studio in Milan for mastering. Okay, and as I said, she is a sweet lady. This is a rockin' song. You have to listen to all the effects. It's just totally cool. So without saying anything else, here is Silversnake Michelle with her original song, I Marry My Pain, from her EP, Buries the Secrets of. Okay, so wasn't that just totally cool? And, we're talking about distortion earlier in this episode, and I want to say there is that distortion, okay, that is on the acoustic guitar. I'm not normally a fan of distortion on acoustic guitar, but you know what? It sounded friggin' awesome on this. It was just really, really cool. So awesome music, Michelle. That is Silversnake Michelle for you guys to go and give her some love on her social media. Buy her song. I've put all the links in the show notes, and that's one rockin' lady. Okay, let's go on to our next guest, female number 3. Okay, so let's change things up a little bit here with some absolutely gorgeous music. This is Jillian LaDage, or LaDage. She is a Celtic world singer, harpist, composer, and she's based in Seattle, Washington. This is an instrumental song entitled On the Cold Air. It's from her album Enchanted Winter. Now, this is such a beautiful, oh my gosh, beautiful in emotional sort of instrumental, one instrument, and it is a lever harp. Okay, so a lever harp is a very, very, very cool instrument. And this particular lever harp is a Lion & Healy Troubadour 6. Lever harps, as opposed to pedal harps, are intended for genuine Celtic repertoire due to the Celtic ornamentation in the music. Now, her being a Celtic world singer, artist, composer, yes, this is the harp that she is using. It's so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. She also plays piano, and she sings like an angel. She sings like an angel. She founded Terrace Coat record label. All the links to these things are in the show notes. She has a YouTube channel also, and there's this one link that I've put in the show notes of she's playing her harp and singing on the stairway. It's just fantastic. All of her videos are fantastic. So what she has done is she has recorded this, and her brother has pretty much mixed it. But she recorded this particular song on Cold Air with her Lion & Healy harp. And she used, I don't know if it's called Shatton or Scatton C3 artist pickup to record it. Now, this pickup is specifically for harps, and it's very, very cool. She also used a Scarlett Focusrite interface to record it through Ableton Light. And then she outsourced it to her wonderful brother. And she says that it was left as close to a live performance sound as possible so that the listener could experience a sound resembling a visit to hear a musician or a bard, which is a poet, in a medieval hall. So I thought that was very interesting. The ambiance was extremely important in this recording. So capturing the harp with that pickup, though, it's beautiful. You can just feel it resonating in your bones. It's very, very, very cool. She is really cool on her website. You know, she has other songs, obviously, where she's singing and they're originals. And you can buy copies of her lyrics handwritten on parchment paper. So if you're into stuff like that, I mean, what a cool idea. So go to her website and maybe buy some lyrics to some of her original music. The links are in the show notes. She wrote this song about days where the cold nips, the snow swirls, and candlelight beams and the frost shimmers into the breeze to evoke an ancient winter's night outside. Isn't that beautiful? I figured, we're getting into the season here, and this is a perfect way to welcome it in with Jillian LaDage's original song, instrumental with her harp, On the Cold Air from her album, Enchanted Winter. Wow, Jillian, you are so immensely talented. And I want all you folks to know out there too that when I first contacted Jillian, or when she first contacted me, actually, she was struggling with some chronic illnesses and had been diagnosed with Lyme disease and Hashimoto's disease. And I just want you to know, whatever your struggles are, creating music is still something that you can do. Look at Jillian. She has accomplished so much. She helps other vocalists achieve vocal freedom as well as continuing her songwriting. So give some love to Jillian and go to her site and buy her music and listen to that really awesome harp. It's so cool. And her beautiful, beautiful voice. And hopefully we're going to be featuring her on other shows, maybe even a holiday show, because she has the most beautiful holiday music. So thank you again, Jillian, for being you. Okay, you are amazing. Okay, and now we are going to move on to our fourth lady of the show, fourth and final lady of the show. Last but not least, here we go. All right, so we are now going to be listening to the very, very, very talented Melody Monroe. Melody Monroe, she amazes me. Okay, she is from Denver, Colorado. She is a performing musician and loop artist. I love loop artists, and doing it live is amazing to me. The song we're featuring is called Bridges. It's a remix version. It's from her New World Sparrow EP. She is a piano-based singer-songwriter and producer, and, as I said, a loop artist who composes lyric-driven future pop music. She is an electro-pop one-woman show, and when I say a one-woman show, I mean a one-woman show. This is so awesome. I've put some links to her videos, especially even to this Bridges remix version, in the show notes. She is so cool to watch live and to listen to. She has got the best voice. It's so cool. She is also, she works that camera. I love her performances. So you have to go to her YouTube channel and you have to watch these one-woman performances. And it's so great to see her because she does this live. She tours all over, live shows in Colorado and Denver, Boulder areas. It's really amazing. She records, produces, mixes, masters all of her own stuff, okay? And a lot of it is in her 400 square foot studio apartment. Now, for this particular song that she wrote, she actually went to another location to record her vocals. She went to another location to record her vocals and then worked on it in her home studio. But she recorded her vocals in another studio where she felt that the isolation booth and the killer preamps would benefit this particular song and EP. So she uses FL Studio and Cubase, both of those for her DAWs, and she uses a Bluebird mic as well as the Shure SM58 for vocals. She creates her synth sounds using Harmor or Massive. She also uses Complete Contact 5 for piano and drum samples and orchestral sounds as well. So her production skills, how she learned to do this, are pretty much self-taught. She's been doing it for years since she was like a wee teenager. And she's still really young, too. So she specializes in live looping using a Boss RC505 as well as a synth and an electric piano to make beats in real time. She says that in many ways, the looper helped her feel more empowered to start producing her own music. Even though she's been dabbling in it for quite some time, she started producing as she started looping more. So I thought that was pretty cool. She is getting ready to take the dive into using Ableton Live and learn how to translate her recorded sound into new live production sounds. So I want you guys to understand that regardless of where you're at, I mean, a 400 square foot studio apartment she's creating this music in. I've also put pictures of her live performance area online, and you have to check this little lady out. She is amazing, amazing, amazing. So, without anything else to say, we are now going to listen to Bridges, her remix version of Bridges from her New World Sparrow EP, and this is the very, very talented Melody Monroe.
That's a perfect stick you found, and now you can carve it into anything you ever wanted. I know that you sleep quiet and sound, because you always got a knife in your back pocket. Oh, oh. Slice away pieces you don't need. You got yourself another living project, but your eyes give away everything you see. And I know that when your dreams wake up, they wish they could be me. Yeah, I know when your dreams wake up, they wish they could be me. Oh, 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 oh. Smoking, smooth talking, but you are no sharper than me. I'm doing my best to make my exit gracefully, knowing that nothing cuts deeper than when you got a knife in your back pocket. All I got is my teeth. You're full of smoking, smooth talking, but you are no sharper than me. And I'm doing my best to make my exit gracefully, knowing that nothing cuts deeper than when I leave.
Ah, fabulous song and performance, Melody. You rock. You totally rock. You know, she wrote that song after a rough parting with a close friend. Haha, you think? Raising her voice through music and always remembering though that it's just water under the bridge. Sometimes the music is our release, and it definitely works in this song. You are so fantastic, Melody. Keep going, and everybody go and give her some love on her sites that are included in the show notes. And with that being said, I do believe we have reached the end of another show. Wow. You guys are all so great. Please, 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 please go to the Facebook page, give it a like, follow on Instagram, follow on Twitter, and find these ladies and give them a shout out and say you heard them on the show and how great they are. And don't forget about the website. Go to the Female Mixing Engineers website and leave a voicemail. You don't even need a phone to do that. Click from your computer. There's a little button, leave a voicemail, ask a question, say something cool, tell us what you want on the show. Just, it would be so great to hear what you're doing. And if you have any tracks, anybody that has any tracks, a female who records, produces, mixes, or masters, edits her own music in a home studio, please send it in to info@femalemixingengineers.com. Send a link to the track, and let's hear your music and get it on the show and show everybody what ladies are doing out there in the studios, in their home studios, okay? I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope it's helped in some way, and thank you again. My name is Darcy Jevons, and this has been so fun, and I can't wait to see you next time.